So just picking up from Tchaikovsky's diary and his comments about Brahms, do you remember we were talking about Hans von Bülow, who knew Tchaikovsky as well as Brahms? And so Tchaikovsky in his diary says this: "A few years ago, when I frankly expressed my opinion of Brahms to Hans von Bülow, he replied, 'Wait a while. The time will come when you will enter into the depth and beauty of Brahms. Like you, it was long before I understood him. But gradually, I was blessed by the revelation of his genius. It will be the same with you.'" It's almost like a religious language that he's using. Hans von Bülow, of course, had been a Wagnerian, but for personal reasons as much as anything, had transitioned into the Brahms camp and had moved from a position of rejecting Brahms's music as a young composer in the Liszt Wagner camp and had come over to the Brahms side. So this was a sort of, it's like a conversion. He'd been converted to Brahms. He says, "It was long before I understood him, but gradually I was blessed by the revelation of his genius. It will be the same for you." He says that again in almost a evangelical way. And then Tchaikovsky says, "And still I wait." But the revelation tarries. So again, he's picking up on that religious language. The penny has not dropped. He's not got Brahms. "I deeply revere the artistic personality of Brahms. I bow to the actual purity of his musical tendencies and admire his firm and proud renunciation of all the tricks which solemnize the Wagnerian cult." Tchaikovsky himself had been to Bayreuth, he'd heard the Ring, he knew a lot about Wagner, and he was really repelled by the Wagnerian cult and the kind of atmosphere of Bayreuth. And in a much less degree, the worship of Liszt, but I do not care for back to Brahms, I do not care for his music. So he kind of wants to like Brahms as opposed to Wagner and to some extent Liszt, but he can't. And Tchaikovsky continues, "My readers will see that this fact, the fact that he didn't like Brahms's music, prevented my seeking for an intimate acquaintance with the very attractive personality of Brahms. I met him in the society of devoted partisans, of whom Brodsky is one, and it appeared to me unseemly, seeing that I was a stranger and did not share in the worship of their idol, to bring any discordant element into the complete harmony of these intensely devout believers in this musical dogma." Isn't it funny how religious it all was? You either belong to this cult or you belong to that cult.